Hello folks, and welcome to Sonofdel's live vlog on this Wednesday the 2nd of June. Wow, where did May disappear to, I wonder? Anyway, beautiful day again today. We've been sitting out for most of it. A little bit of rain in the air. But today I have got my vlog and I will be telling you about, first of all, I will be doing a little bit of a jigsaw haul to show you, which you will be very impressed with, particularly if you like retro. I'll tell you more in a bit. I've also got a book review of a fantastic book called 77 Shadow Street by the brilliant Dean Koontz. I'll be having a bit of a talk about what we've been getting up to in the last week and what's been happening in the world. And I'll be finishing with a talk on Bravery. That'll get you thinking for a little bit, won't it? But yeah, sorry, I'm sitting like that. I look like I've got about 8 chins, don't I? If I sit up right, see? But then again, my head goes above the camera, so I've got to be careful about that. I'll have to lower my seat a bit, hold on. That's better, there you go. Anyway, coming up first, I'll do the jigsaw haul. Now, jigsaws are my thing, as you know. I'll show you the first jigsaw, because this is just a normal jigsaw. Now, obviously, it's the Queen's 70 years on the throne, and today is actually the anniversary of it, so there's a lot going on in town, etc, etc. And I just thought I'd buy one jigsaw, and I bought this one, and it's basically all the attractions in London. As you can see, you've got all sorts on there. You've got Buckingham Palace, you've got the Tower, you've got London Eye. You know, it's a nice jigsaw. I got it off the works, and as you can see, it was £8. It was £8, and I didn't mind spending a little bit on that one. It wasn't too bad. Now, these next four absolutely blew me away. I got an email from the works, and I always scroll down it and look what jigsaws are available, and most of the time I go past them. But one jumped out at me, and the one that jumped out at me, I'll show you. It was this. Now, as you can see, it's a 500-piece jigsaw, and it's of Back to the Future. But what's brilliant about it is if you look on the side, where it says, I've got that right, yeah, Back to the Future. It's done in the style of an old video cassette. Can you see it? It's absolutely amazing. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open one so I can have a look how it actually comes out the box. Because if it comes out like a cassette, I'm absolutely in love with these. Just try and get in it first, which isn't always easy when you've got fingers like me. Aha, I've got a corner. I've got a corner, folks. I've got a corner. Hang on. Right, here we go. I can open it now. You're going to see this at the same time as me, because even I don't know how it comes out the box. So let's have a see, shall we? Like I said, it's a Back to the Future, and it's a cult movies collection by Clementoni. Now, Clementoni are a good jigsaw maker anyway. I've got quite a few jigsaws of theirs. Right, let's see what happens. You pull it out, and you've got a videotape of Back to the Future. And basically, you open it up as you would a normal jigsaw, and the jigsaw is inside. Let me just show you. There. And you have a look at the back, and it's actually done like a video cassette. I absolutely love this jigsaw. And like I say, it's a cult movies, and it's called Back to the Future. And you've even got the little bit of a clip there, look, so you can actually slide it back into its case. Well, you can if you've got good hands. Try, there you go. Slides back into its case like an old style video. Now, the reason I said I love it is obviously I'm a retro person. I was born in 1972, and the 80s were my era. And this was the time, obviously, when people were watching VHS video recorders or Betamax. Now, I also found out by searching that they got another 3 of classic movies from that genre. Now, this one, you don't know whether you know this one, The Big Lebowski. Again, it's written on, look, as you would write on an old... Well, I'm sorry, but I've got to point this out. If you were born in the 80s, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you were born in the 90s and onwards, you won't. And this is where we used to write on the side of the video when we'd recorded it off the telly, off the TV. Because believe it or not, it hasn't always been Blu-rays and DVDs. It used to be these things, video cassettes. But they weren't this big, by the way, in case you're wondering if they were ever this big. Not unless you had a Betamax. They were probably about that size, maybe. About that size. That bit there, that there. So that was the second one. The third one is one of my first films I ever watched that made me jump 50 foot. Literally, from one thing that happened in the film, I jumped a mile, and it's this one. And it's the classic Jaws. And again, video cassette, look how it comes out. It's absolutely brilliant. I've fallen in love with these jigsaws. And again, it's even written on the side, Jaws, like a proper old video recorder. Anyway, yeah, the part in Jaws that always makes me jump is the part where the bloke's head, well, if you've ever seen it, it's basically a part where a bloke's head falls out of a boat and the guy's underwater when this happens and he jumps and first time I watched it I nearly ended up behind the settee. And the fourth one, this one is for Mr. Ian Maddock and also for Pauline Gale, because it is the Blues Brothers, and it's the original Blues Brothers movie poster there, as you can see, with who's it in Elwood? I can't remember. I know I've forgotten the name. It's Elwood and Summit. He'll kill me honestly. But yeah, and again, they're all 500-piece jigsaws. They're all done by Clementoni. Now I did go onto Amazon and search for these, and they have got some on there, but they're £10 each. But they've also got some that come in video cassette cases like you used to get from Blockbuster. And they've got Back to the Future 2 there, so I'm thinking of getting that to go with these, but not paying £10, £15 for a 500-piece jigsaw. I won't pay that. These were only £5 each on the Works. I'll put the link underneath because I know a few people who'll be interested in these just for nostalgia reasons. They're absolutely fantastic. And I managed to get all that lot there for £28. And that's 5 jigsaws, including 4 that are absolutely retro. So I got them from the Works, and that's my jigsaw haul. There's no pictures this time because I haven't been doing jigsaws. I know you may drop in shock, but I have not been doing any jigsaws since I last did a vlog. But I will be doing some. It's just I've been making the most of the beautiful weather we've been having, because it's been so nice. I've been sitting outside and I've been doing a little bit of gaming on my phone, and I've been talking to the neighbours and talking to Deb and having cups of tea out there and everything, and the days have flown. They really have flown. But that is my jigsaw haul from the Works, and altogether it was £28 for 4 retro jigsaws and 1 modern jigsaw. Now, since I last spoke to you, we haven't been doing too much actually. There's not a lot been going on. I've got a line down my camera here for some reason. I don't know why. I'll figure that out later. But yeah, we haven't been doing too much, to be honest with you, because the weather's been that nice. We've been literally sitting outside. Now, I've got a little bit of a story to tell you actually about a company that's in Blackpool. And this company in Blackpool is called Tiffany's. Now, Tiffany's is a big nightclub type hotel thing on the front. And I know somebody, I'm not going to mention any names, who's had an absolute nightmare with them in the last week. This person was getting married, and they had booked that place for the reception and everything else. And it was a complete disaster, catastrophe. I'll just explain. They had a buffet that they paid for. Now, as well as having their reception there, they also were going to stay there they're staying there for the night, and they ordered the bridal suite, and they also ordered petals all over the bed and bottles of champagne in the room. Lovely for a nice wedding night. Anyway, let's get to the reception first. The reception starts at about 8 o'clock or something like that. Anyway, about 9:30. One of the people at this do followed a guy and watched him loading up all this food in Tupperware boxes and putting them in the boot of his car. And he said, "What's going on here?" They said, "Well, it's been an hour and a half since we put the buffet out. Because nobody's eating it, we're taking it home." They're allowed to take the food home. Even though this party was still going on and people were still there, they were taking the food and putting it in Tupperware boxes to take home. Right, that's the first thing. Second thing, they get to the room at the end of the and they go into the room. No rose petals, none at all. No champagne, thinking it must be an oversight. They go downstairs to the bar and say, "Have you got the champagne?" "You're not having it." Wouldn't give it them. Wouldn't give them the champagne, even though they paid for it. They didn't give it them until they were leaving to go home the next day. That's when they give it them. Gets better. In the room, there was also a hot tub jacuzzi. Fantastic. Lovely. Nice wedding night thing, that. Nice, relax in the bath thing. It was leaking. They couldn't use it. They had the nerve to not offer a refund, not offer an apology, nothing. Have you ever heard anything like that in your life? And this was a company called Tiffany's. And they're a big place in Blackpool. You know Tiffany's. It's a great big massive pink hotel. You can't miss it. And this review, literally, when I was told, I actually asked if I could use this review, on my vlog to let people know what's going on, like, and this person said yes, I could. So I have got permission to talk about it. Like I said, I'm not going to mention any names because it's still ongoing. But I compared it with what happened with me and my wife. Now, when my wife and I got married 8 years ago, we stayed at a lovely place that basically pulled out all the stops for us. They were brilliant. And we only stayed there for one night. After the wedding. But I'll tell you something now. It was brilliant. We couldn't fault it. Everything was done how it should have been done. The next morning when we had breakfast, literally, it was anything you wanted to eat, you could eat. It was all included. And there was full cooked breakfast, there was fruit, there was croissants, there was cereals galore. You could just help yourself and keep going. And I thought, wow, what a difference compared to what this other person's gone through. So if you are going to have your wedding and you were thinking of having it in Tiffany's, this is just a forewarning that if this is what they do to one person, they can easily do it to another. And I don't blame this person for speaking up, because at the end of the day, it needs to be noted. It needs to be noted, because if you're just getting married and you think, oh, Tiffany's will be a fantastic place, have my reception and a couple of nights in the hotel. No. The other thing is, after they left, one of the guests was staying on an extra day. So they went back the next day to say goodbye to them. They wouldn't let them in. They said, you've had your reception now, you've left. Even if you know that person, you're not coming in. You're not allowed in unless you're booking another room. Now, of course, it kicked off at this point, because this person was very, very angry. And in the end, they did allow her to come in, but she was only allowed to stay for one drink with this person. Now, again, I'm comparing this with when Debb's auntie came from, I can't remember where she lives now. She lives up north, on the north side, Newcastle way, that area. Anyway, she came over to visit us, and we went to meet her at her hotel. And we walked in and we said, we're here to meet such and such, they're in such and such a room. Oh yes, no problem, just sit there and wait there, and they'll be down in a minute, no problem. Nobody gave us any grief about, oh well, you haven't got a room here, so you've got to go, and all this. It was as if, literally, Tiffany's took all the money, and once they got the money, they didn't need customer service after that, because they'd already got your money by then. What was the point of being nice? So yeah, it was a complete and utter shambles. And I just couldn't believe it when I heard. So yeah, but that's the main thing what's been happening in the last week. We've had a couple of people ill in my family. My nephew Sean had to go in hospital because he was having severe problems with his stomach. But luckily, hopefully, things are sorted now and he's on the mend. And also my brother-in-law's father, who was also in hospital and not too well, he is now going home and he can have care at home. So that's all been sorted. So it's all, at the moment, touch wood, it's all good news. Now I can say touch wood because if you've noticed, I've been scalped. Deb actually took the shears to my head yesterday, so I look like a convict at the moment, but all good. Now, of course, the last thing that I'll mention before I go on to my book review is Liverpool Football Club. Obviously, we finished the season now and we won 2 cups. We made the final of a third and only lost to Real Madrid 1-0, and apparently the game wasn't very good. I didn't even watch it. And also, there was a lot of trouble to do with the crowd and everything. And not because the Liverpool fans were being in trouble, because the police were literally pepper spraying everybody they could. And, it wasn't a nice scene. But also, Liverpool finished second in the league, only 1 point behind Man City. Now, that is a fantastic season to me. It really is a good season because we won 2 pieces of silverware. So that's 2 more trophies for the cabinet. It's growing and growing and growing. And there's people coming forward saying, oh, they did crap, they were going to win the quadruple, they only won 2 cups. And it's like, look, if your team every season won 2 cups, you wouldn't be bleating and bitching and moaning. You'd be going, fantastic, another 2 cups. And yeah, one of them's the Carling Cup, which I call the Mickey Mouse Cup, but the other one's the FA Cup. Now, bear in mind, the FA Cup is the top cup in England to play for. There's no higher football cup to play for, and Liverpool won it. And both times we beat Chelsea on penalties, who were again a good side. So we've done brilliant to beat them twice on penalties. And I think we've had a good season. So Liverpool, you'll never walk alone. Big massive fan, you know that. Always there. Anyway, coming up, my book review for 77 Shadow Street by Dean Koontz. Now, I've just finished a book on my Kindle called 77 Shadow Street by Dean Koontz. The story is actually a long story, but it's split into 2 books, before and after. And what I'll explain is, in 77 Shadow Street, you've got a building, Pendleton Towers, I think it's called. And what basically is, this building has got the ability to shift forward in time every 38 years. And what happens is, every 38 years, this building zooms into the future where things have changed. And when I say things have changed, I mean bad shit, bad stuff's going on. Sorry, didn't mean to say shit, but you know, bad stuff's going on. And what it basically is this hotel's got all these people in different rooms, etc, etc. They've all started noticing weird things happening, like shadow people that weren't there and creatures that they can't define and all this. Anyway, they end up going forward in time. This is just a shortened version of the book because there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more characters and side stories and everything, but the gist is, this building then goes forward. And in this future, mankind does not exist no more because of us. Because what we've done, we've gone too far with AI. And we've created a power that literally has killed everybody on the planet. Every human being has gone. And the only creatures are dark creatures that are made of millions and millions of tiny micro machines, little tiny microbite things that basically can go all different shapes and everything like that. They can go inside a human and turn it into one of them and all this sort of stuff. And the gist is that it's like a moralistic story, because it's basically saying, if we keep giving robots and AI too much power, too much ability, we are going to be the robots, because we are going to literally be controlled by them. Because if you think about it, in a strange way, we kind of are now. Not many people can survive without the mobile phones, without the computers. I'm on one now. Without the internet in general. And when you think about it, nobody really knows what the internet actually is. Because we don't know what the internet is. We just know that it's this thing that you can go on, and it's got loads and loads of endless information and space and God knows what. But where did it come from? Why is it here? What you know, we are literally giving it everything, because literally we're telling it as bank details, mortgage details, property details. We're telling it as sexualities, as likes, as dislikes, as shopping habits, gas, electricity, everything. We're telling it everything, and it's taking all this information in. Now, if you've got a robot and you're giving it all this information, sooner or later that robot's going to say, what do I need humans for? Don't need them. We've already started, haven't we, with like things like construction where things used to be done by hand and all that sort of stuff. Now it's all done by machine, with one person pressing a button, and then the machine does everything after that. You know, so we're already replacing humans with robots. In the future, I can actually see this happening, definitely. I can see us giving robots and AI and all that sort of stuff too much power. And when they realise they don't need us, they will wipe us out. And there's nothing we can do about it, because we created them. And we will be the source of our own downfall. And that's what this book is all about. It's about the moralistic approach to messing with things like that, you know, trying to create something from little tiny microbots that can literally think for itself, breathe for itself, do everything for itself. And in some ways it's quite a scary book. Now I'm giving this one 10 out of 10, not out of 5 like I normally do. I'm giving this one 8 out of 10 because it is a good book. There are a lot of side stories, like I said. There's a lot of creepiness in it. There's a lot of good build-up of different things. I did find it a bit samey. The same things sort of looked like they were happening, and you sort of had an idea from the start who was going to survive and who wasn't, and also you had an idea who was behind it as well. Well, I did anyway. After about the first 200 pages or whatever, I had an idea of who was behind it all. But all in all, it's a good book. It melds well, and it's not one I'd heard of before. I only found it on my Kindle. So I would give 77 Shadow Street by Dean Koontz 8 out of 10. Worth a read. Now I want to finish today with talking about Bravery. Now everybody sees Bravery and they think, bungee jumping when you're frightened of heights, or jumping out of an aeroplane, parachuting, whatever. That isn't the bravery I mean. There's also the bravery where you sort of charge at a machine gun nest, just single-handedly destroying 50 Germans, you know. That's bravery, but that ain't the sort of bravery I mean either. The bravery I mean is the stories I've seen in the press in the last week or two, which have made me proud, really, in some ways, because people are coming forward and admitting to things that they wouldn't normally have admitted 2 years ago. The first example of a footballer coming out who was gay came out as well, and he played for Blackpool FC, which is funny enough where I live, Blackpool, and he came out as gay, and he was very brave to do that. Now, only today I've just seen that a Scottish Premier League referee has also come out as gay. Now, this is a massive step, because don't forget, a lot of people see football as a big man's rough sport, you know, go out, play football with your mates, then go out on the pub and have a few bevies, pull a few birds or whatever. And it's nice to see that that stereotypical look at how footballers are is getting changed, because you're not telling me that out of all the people that play football, nobody is homosexual. I do not believe that. Now, in the women's game, it's more noticeable because they're more upfront about it. But in the men's game, they've had to keep it really under lock and key, because they didn't want to be ridiculed, they didn't want to be insulted, they didn't want to be slagged off by the fans or whatever. So for this footballer to step forward and admit it is what I class as brave, very brave. Now, the other brave person, which I never thought I'd admit, is a guy called Johnny Depp. And as you know, Johnny Depp is a fantastic actor. He's been in Pirates of the Caribbean. He literally is Jack Sparrow. I think he's brilliant. I've got a lot of his films. Deb's mad on him. She was mad on him from the first minute she saw him in the very first film he was in, which was Nightmare on Elm Street, where he gets splatted on the ceiling. That was actually Johnny Depp. Very young Johnny Depp, but take note. And what he's done is something which I can relate to. Many years ago, I was in a relationship with a woman called Julie, and she, over a period of 3-4 years, she mentally and physically abused me to the point of, excuse me, you wouldn't believe that, would your phone hasn't gone all day? Oh well. She literally mentally and physically abused me for 4 years. She used me as a punch bag. She emotionally blackmailed me. She would literally put me down at every instant. She would make me feel worthless and like I shouldn't even be on the planet. I should be grateful that she'd taken time out of her life to love me and all this stuff. And I believed it. Now, when it came to my divorce, I found that on the papers she'd stated that I'd physically and mentally abused her. Now, even though I knew it was the other way round, and a lot of people knew it was the other way round, in order to fight this, I was told I was going to have to pay £2,000. Well, at this point, I was already nearly 10,000 in debt with what she'd left me. She left me 10,000 in debt, because like an idiot, when we were together, everything we got, I got in my name, because I was a bit of a pillock back then. Anyway, I wanted to show people that I was not a mental or physical abuser, but I could not afford to prove that. So I had to let the divorce go through, and luckily the people who knew me and who still know me to this day would know I would never do anything to mentally or physically abuse anybody. So let's go forward. Now we've got the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. Now, at first I thought it was a bit 50 of one, 50 of the other. I thought they were as bad as each other and they deserved each other. But what made me admire Johnny Depp was the fact that he got a Hollywood actor, right, a very famous Hollywood actor, and he's put his reputation on the line. Now, his career was already shot from the minute she started saying all these rumours about him, because literally movies were dropping him left, right and centre. Nobody would touch him with a barge pole. And he was brave enough to say, hang on a minute, this is not me. I need to prove and show people that they were wrong to judge me. They were wrong to everything. And it all came out, and he actually admitted that he was in a relationship where he was mentally abused by her. He was physically abused by her. Now, I'm not saying that he was 100% innocent, because I don't believe he was. But I do believe that for him to come forward and admit to all that is a massive step, and men will be looking at him going, I'm in that situation. If he can do it, I can do it. Now, Amber Heard, after the trial, because it favoured in Johnny Depp's favour, like the accusations, said that because of this court case, it had taken away her right of freedom of speech. And I just thought, so you're telling me everybody should have the right to be emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, without any repercussions? Now, take away the physical side, because yes, I used to get used as a punch bag, but that wasn't the worst. That wasn't the worst abuse I suffered. The worst abuse I suffered was up here, because when I actually had the courage to leave her, I had to do it without her knowing, because I didn't think I'd get out the house alive if she knew I was leaving her. Now, after I'd left her and moved back in with my mum, she started coming down, and it was all tears. It was all, I'm sorry, I want you back, I never meant to do it. And it went on and on and on. And I knew exactly what kind of person she was. She was manipulative, very manipulative, because people would see her and go, oh, she's lovely, she's really, really nice. She was, until the doors closed. And then it was a different character, you see. Now, when I finally separated from her and I started a new relationship, I was a mess. I was all over the place. I was explaining where I'd been, what time I'd been there. I was explaining what I was doing on a certain time of day, where I was going, who I was with. I felt like I had to in my new relationship. And my new relationship was obviously with my wife now, Depp, and she saw the mess I was in. I would not talk to people. I was a shell. I was literally hiding within myself. I feared every time she lifted a hand that she was going to hit me, and it used to bring her to tears, because she used to think, wow, what has this woman done to him? And in some way, I'm kind of brave for admitting that myself, because I know a lot of men who still have got the attitude, well, I'd have just thumped her one and all of it. I didn't want to do that, because I didn't want to become something that I hated. And if I'd have hit her, I would have become exactly what she wanted me to become, and I didn't allow that. So bravery, to me, is having the courage to stand up and admit things that you know people at some point are going to ridicule you for, or are going to insult you for. And that takes real courage, that does. And that is why I wanted to finish by talking about bravery. So all men out there and women out there, I'm not saying that it's all women who do the abuse and men don't, and it's all a fallacy. It's a load of garbage. There's as many male abusers as there are female abusers, and that's something that now is coming more to light, because men aren't hiding no more behind a cloak of, oh, well, I'm a man, so I should stand up to it, and I should just get through life and not bother. No, nobody should suffer mental and physical abuse in a relationship like that in a million years. Luckily, it hasn't really damaged me now. Now, all these years later, 22 years later over, I am now a better person for it. I'm now more thoughtful of myself. I now look at myself and think, yes, you are worth something. There is somebody there who loves you unconditionally, without the physicalness, violence, without the emotional blackmail and the emotional insults and all this. So if you are in this situation, I'm going to post this on a group called Let's Speak Men's Mental Health. Now, this is just the men's side of it, but obviously there'll be a women's one as well. But I would say to you, go onto this site, write your story. People are there to listen. Some people will have gone through exactly what you've gone through, and nobody will ridicule you. Nobody will slag you off or put you down. These are genuine men who will listen to genuine men. So go on there, tell your story, and you will feel a lot better, because I do believe a problem shared is a problem halved, and these guys are brilliant. I have seen them help so many men. And I'm not talking specialists, they're not counsellors or nothing like that. These are men who've dealt with these problems themselves, and they will speak from, experience. They will speak from experience. So anyway, I'm going to leave you at that. And I would say to you, like I said, be brave, and I will see you again in about a week. Thank you for watching, and thanks for all the upvotes and all sorts. You take care, and bye for now.